The Cheating Death Podcast is a satirical podcast containing information objectively about everything under the sun. We are not political, we are not religious. We are merely a force in whom wishes to provide as much truth as humanly possible. Your discretion in this matter is advised. On today's episode of the Cheating Death Podcast, we discuss the debate of patio versus pub trips. Given that the summer is here and there are a lot of things to do, it is time to put some focus onto the debate, not necessarily to decide a winner, but to provide further context as to why and how some of these may be enjoyable. We also provide you with an all-new Annihilation Announcement, an all-new top 5 cocktail list. We also provide you with a business spotlight at the end of the episode, and much, much more, dear listener. So you know what to do. Grab yourself an iced coffee, put your feet up, and let us tell you how you can cheat death. This is your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this is your Annihilation Announcement. We understand as a species to a certain degree that there is a limit, that there is a means to an end, that ultimately everyone has a final strand to their rope. Why is it that we as people are always trying to debate whether or not our opinions are more valuable than other people's? Does it really matter all that much? Not entirely. Especially when you take into account the consideration that is put into the mind of those in whom are just trying to go about their lives, learn everything as much as they humanly can, trying to make as little of a disturbance in the lives of others. And then you realize from a very, very close point that in the end, whether or not we believe a certain value system versus another, it is a complete difference of opinion. Each and every single individual in whom has been born on this planet, consciously, within this vessel, did not choose to be here. There are quite clearly other things outside of the realm and the whole vessel and soul talk and stuff, but this is not for time to discuss that particular matter. No, we need to be kinder. And it's a repeating, traumatizing element of society where people vehemently and ardently refuse to take care of each other, whether it be through mental health or emotional capacity and understanding. We live in a world now where our medical professionals are breaking the very individuals in whom are responsible for ensuring that we are safe and taken care of when we are at our most vulnerable are breaking. All because of a lot of systemic issues. But why is that? Simply because the opinion of the government is that hospitals should run in debt and that they don't need more doctors, that everything is just fine. Meanwhile, you ask the individuals whom are working within the facility and their opinion will be counter. Now, is each opinion correct? Depending on who you ask, both are correct. However, depending on your personal experiences as well as the overall realm of the socioeconomic framework and infrastructure of our economy, we need to understand that ultimately, sometimes, we need to do a little bit more in order to make the world a little bit of a better place. Next time you disagree with somebody over something that may or may not be trivial, understand that you both may have a different opinion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is the end of the world. Proceed as you see fit. This has been your news anchor, the Cleric of Chaos, and this has been your Annihilation Announcement. Willkommen, 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 meine Freunde. Guten Morgen, guten Tag und eine gute Nacht. Ist eine Reisende und eine Ausländer, deine Allesfresser, deine Cleric of Chaos. And on today's program, dear listeners, we are going to discuss some of the subtle nuances in the ambiance and the atmosphere and the electricity and the differences between that of a pub and a patio atmosphere. What makes one different than the other? Quite clearly, the very first obvious example is that most pubs are on the inside and patios are quite clearly on the exterior. However, as we dive through this particular segment of the program, we will find out together. Pubs versus patios. Positivity versus pulchritudinousness. Note to yourself exactly what it is that you look to see, what you hope to experience when you are going to a place of refreshment and excitement, or a place where you can just relax, mellow out, be yourself, and hide in a corner. Either way, it doesn't really matter. What matters is your preference. So when we look at the discussion between patios versus pubs, a couple of things are quite clearly obvious. One, pubs. Pubs are generally inside. They're generally dimly lit for the most part. They have a cozy atmosphere, regular clientele, and, a fairly rudimentary / regular menu, whether it be a happy hour menu or a half-priced app menu, and a fair selection of local beverages and regular menu of alcoholic cocktails, among others. You look at a patio. Quite clearly it's outside because it's a patio. Temperature and weather are not necessarily controlled. It might be cold, it might be windy, it might be hot. But having a cocktail out on a patio, in some way, shapes, or forms, having a meal and having all this delicious type of food, the outdoors adds to the atmosphere. It adds to the elements that you are enjoying the food or the beverage in which you are consuming. It provides you with a little bit of a brighter atmosphere, a little bit more of an opportunity to obviously look around you and see things outside, do a little bit more people watching, provide yourself with a little bit of an opportunity to maybe see a bird or two as you are hanging out on the outside of the bar. But when we look at pubs specifically as well, we understand that when you go to a pub, there is an expectation. You just kind of sort of want to just stick to what it is that is the standard norm. Get yourself a drink, maybe get yourself a meal, just kind of chill, maybe watch a TV a little bit here and there, and people are either quietly murmuring to themselves, or they already have a group of people and they are quietly speaking amongst themselves. Whether or not one prefers a pub or a patio ultimately comes down to one's personal preferences. Now, when it comes to a pub, there is quite clearly an isolated setting. Clearly, when you go into these types of establishments and you sit down and you grab yourself a booth or you grab yourself a stool or a chair, there is a slightly different expectation than if you were to be going outside and sitting on a patio and waiting to see as to whether or not the elements come in. But when you look at the differences as well between the servers as well as the bar staff and between pubs and patios, depending on the sizes of both, running inside and outside has its benefits and it has its detriments as well. The constant temperature change, being able to identify and look at different things and different elements around you, having to do a bit of a different kind of look into where you may be able to use the washroom or may be able to use a certain different segment of the bar / pub / patio. That's also taken into account as well. When we look into the details and what makes a pub great or what makes a patio great, it all really boils down to similar elements. You need the ambiance. You need the atmosphere. You need great food, cozy drinks, and you need to feel comfortable. So whether or not you yourself look at a patio or you look at a pub as being your premier destination for lovely food, excellent drinks, and so on more, there are absolutely many opportunities for you to try both, see which one matches the criteria in which you see fit, and ultimately, the most important part, see which patio or see which pub is better suited to your preferences. And besides, life is only getting more and more hectic, so whether it's a patio or whether it's a pub, by all means, enjoy your life. And thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourself and each other. At the top of today's episode, we promised you another list of our top 5 favorite cocktails, and this may not be the last one given that the summer is upon us and there are literally hundreds within the archives. We must pick and choose as time goes on. So without further ado, let us dive right in. Coming in at number 5, we have the Mango Breeze Fishbowl from Jack Astor's, a giant 3-ounce cocktail filled with mango, peach soda, absolute citron, and lots of delicious, excellent mango puree. It is absolutely a great way to start or end your day. Coming in at number 4, we have the delicious Mimosa. Coming in at number 3, we of course have the legendary but simple Tom Collins. Coming in at number 2, we have the classic triple sec margarita with a dash of lime, of course, with the gold tequila. And of course, if we're looking at our final entry, look no further, dear listeners, than a double tequila Caesar. What are your top 5 favorite cocktails? Email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com. Today's joke has been brought to you by the Cleric of Chaos. They always say that politics is an organized crime. Well, the choreography behind it, if it is a crime, is the fashion behind it. Those suits, ugh. Today's business spotlight is, of course, brought to you by Chaos Realm Deutschland Venture Capital, where we provide you with a litany of consulting services, including but not limited to that of the graphic design, the artistic variety, audio and video engineering, corporate planning, and event management, both personal and private, photography services for both weddings, funerals, special occasions, and anything and everything in between. Reach out to us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com to acquire more information and discounts that may be applicable to your event. Our first business is a long-standing business here on the Business Spotlight. It is based out of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. You may visit them at oopsies_chocolate on Instagram, oopsies_chocolate.ca, with respect to the website and where you may order from. They have chocolate starting as low as just $7 per morsel and going all the way up to $70+ for a giant variety bag with absolutely everything that they offer. You may follow Oopsies Chocolate on Instagram at oopsies_chocolate and ensure that you get yourself a nice delicious snack to complement your day. Our second business is, of course, one of the most delicious and beautiful breakfast places in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yes, we are talking about the one, the only, the Leviathan of legend. We are talking about Fran's over at 20 College Street in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. They are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, providing you with exquisite service, outstanding portions, and amazing moments that you will never capture anywhere else. Looking for delicious food late night with a diner that feels just right? Visit Fran's at 20 College Street for your next meal. And of course, what would this business spotlight be without the most legendary blue fry truck outside of Nathan Phillips Square, and what with FIFA, the World Cup happening, why not get yourself down there and try a bit yourself? Steve's Fries is the first and one of the largest, widest menus that are available within the food truck service area of the City Hall portion. One must note the amount of effort and pride it takes to maintain a business of over 40 years in the fine city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So, dear listeners, if you find yourself in the downtown Toronto core, absolutely take an opportunity to go visit Steve's Fries. That is all today for the Business Spotlight, dear listeners. If you would like your business featured, by all means, email us at thecheatingdeathpodcast@gmail.com for discounts and applicable rates. And rest assured, your business is benevolent and bright. The identity of the patio dweller versus the persona of the pub crawler is really a dichotomy that not many people, when it comes to the consumption of beverages and or delicious, lovely foods, take into consideration when putting a summer into perspective. You, dear listener, have a multitude of options at your selection, regardless of whether or not you live in a city, a township, a hamlet, or a village, or a mega metropolis. It doth not matter. There are plenty of options for you to partake in, for you to enjoy each and every single moment that you may, whether it be in the evening and during a pub crawl, or just a visit to your local neighborhood speakeasy that you so frequently choose because of the ambiance and the comfort and the half-priced food, or whether you are seeking the blended splendor of a patio mixed with lovely cocktails and outstanding food that you cannot simply have on an indoor location. No, we ultimately identify different types of people in different types of situations, as well as with different personality traits, and we're very quick to assume that just because one likes one, they might not like the other, though in this case, the debate remains at large. There will be no conclusion to this, as there is no end to anything in life, dear listener, until the very end comes upon us. So whether it is patios versus pubs, versus the indoors versus the outdoors, versus the day versus the night, versus the weekday versus the weekend, we can all learn from each other and identify exactly what types of things that we can experience and enjoy. Thank you for tuning in today. Take care of yourselves and each other. The Cheating Death Podcast is brought to you by Nachdem Lieben CRDVC, Cleric Chaos, where you can find all podcasts on all platforms. If you'd like to support the program, you may do so with the links in the episode's description or in the podcast description as well. Assist us with our injury support fund, or buy yourself a cameo or some merchandise. If you'd like to support our friends and directors and consultants of the program, please do so with the links in the podcasts and the episode's description as well. If you or anyone you know is experiencing psychiatric duress, gambling abuse, substance abuse, or any type of withdrawal or life-threatening emergency, please contact the toll-free numbers listed in the podcast and episode's description. If you or any of your friends are looking at adopting a playful puppy or a cute kitten, please visit your local animal adoption rescue center. With summer right around the corner and almost in our midst, it would make for a great time for you to have a kitten or a puppy to play with and a new lifelong friend. Dear listener, understand that over the course of time that you will be faced with much calamity and a lot of confusion. Remember, life is not easy, and there is no one-way track to success. You just gotta keep going. Remember, we're pulling for you. We're all in this together.